Whether or not you are broke, you probably feel broke. I mean, most people across all different income levels, whether they make 30,000, 50,000, or 100,000 a year, feel broke and want to be making more. Most people are not happy with where they're at financially, and why is this? Why do we all feel so broke? Well, let me start off by saying that being broke is not the same as feeling broke. No, they're two different things. Being broke is caused by not having a lot of money in your bank account, but feeling broke is caused by how you perceive your financial status, how it compares to those around you, and how societal expectations shape your feelings. We feel broke not because we are, but because a certain mindset distorts our view of where we're at and often makes us feel behind. And in this video, I want to explain 7 things that influence this mindset that often make us feel more broke than we actually are. Now, the first thing that influences this mindset is the upward comparison trap. Now, most people feel a lot poorer than they actually are because of something called the upward comparison trap. And this is when you compare where you are in life to people above you, people who are doing better than you. And it's a natural thing to compare ourselves to other people. However, a huge thing that distorts our view of our own financial situation is who we choose to compare ourselves to. For example, in the United States, a person might have a salary of $50,000, an old car, and a small house, and look at more affluent people above them and feel broke. We often feel broke because we choose to compare our situation to people above us, which distorts our view of our own situation. However, if instead we zoomed out and looked at the big picture, we would discover that many people are much worse off than us, which would probably make us feel extremely well off. When we choose to look at the big picture, we quickly discover that we're not as broke as we think we are, but we're actually extremely fortunate. Now, the second thing is the island comparison trap. Now, another comparison trap that often makes us feel poorer than we actually are is called the island comparison trap. And this is when you compare yourself to people who are on the same island as you. Based on our job and economic status, we can often trap ourselves in this bubble, where it's almost like we're living on an island, where everyone around us is in a very similar situation. And this can really distort your view of your own financial situation. For example, imagine you work as a software engineer for a small startup that pays $100,000 a year. You might be living on the tech bro island, where you're comparing yourself to other software engineers at bigger companies who make substantially more than you and start to feel broke. We often feel broke because we choose to trap ourselves in this bubble where it's almost like we're living on an island where we can only compare our financial situation to people who are in very similar situations. However, if instead we choose to leave our island, we might discover that we're doing substantially better than other people on other islands. We might discover that we're not as broke as we think we are. Now, the third thing is the fictional reality comparison trap. Alright, so this is the last comparison trap, but it's becoming more and more popular due to the rise of social media, and it's called the fictional reality comparison trap. And this is when you compare yourself to a fictional reality that is portrayed on social media. Due to the rise of smartphones, we have a front row ticket to see how other people live, or how it seems other people live. And this can really distort our view of our own financial situation. For example, imagine a person in their early 20s who gets so consumed on social media that they start to think it's normal to have a sports car, live in a giant house, and make $20,000 a month, and then look at their own life and think, I'm so broke. We often feel broke because we get consumed with comparing our life situation to what we see on social media. However, this lifestyle is completely fictional. And so with all these comparison traps, it's just important to be extremely cautious with who you choose to compare yourself to, and not overlook the big picture of how you are doing. Because you are probably doing a lot better than you think you are. Now, the fourth thing is society's to-do list. When it comes to life, society pressures us to do certain things by certain ages, almost like a to-do list. By 22, we should graduate college and start our career. By 30, we should have a better role. By 40, we should be entering the lead roles. And by 50, we should be in the lead roles making good money. Society has these expectations for us, and I think that we all subconsciously judge our progress by this to-do list given by society. And when we don't meet expectations, we might feel behind in life. For example, if you're 30 and you don't have an established career plan, a higher paying job and a mortgage, you might think, I'm so behind, I'm broke. We often feel broke because we subconsciously judge our progress by this to-do list that society gives us. However, just like the upward comparison trap, if you zoomed out and looked at the big picture, you'd discover that most people are in the same situation as you. You aren't as behind as you think you are because nobody knows what they're doing. Now, the fifth thing is society's obsession with growth. Another idea that society instills in us is that we should always be growing and improving. I mean, our economy relies on perpetual infinite growth. Through consistent quarterly returns, infinite growth no matter your size, and growth no matter the consequences. There's even a saying that goes, if you're not growing, you're dying. And to some extent, we all have to play this growth game and climb up some sort of ladder, whether it's the corporate ladder or the entrepreneurship ladder, where there's always more money to be made and higher positions to be had, to the point where we become obsessed with the next thing and we're never satisfied with where we are and we feel broke. And so we feel broke because to some extent we all have to play in the system where we always have to be growing and improving. However, it's important to be intentional when playing this game and not always be seeking the next thing. Because if you're always seeking the next thing, you will never be satisfied with where you are. Now, the sixth thing is money as a measuring stick of success. Another belief that society instills in us is that money is a measuring stick of success, meaning the more money you make, the more successful you are. I mean, in the United States, we even deem the most successful people in our society as the people with the most money, the winners of capitalism. And sadly, on many different income levels, many people believe this idea that money is a measuring stick of success and judge their self-worth by their net worth. And this causes so many people to feel broke because, as I said, there's always somebody doing better than you and growth is infinite. We often feel broke because we view money as a measuring stick of success, and we connect our self-worth with our net worth. However, it's important to not default to this idea that money is a measuring stick of success, and instead come up with your own way to measure your success. And if you can come up with your own way to measure your success, you'll be much happier, not always wanting more. Now, the final thing that influences this mindset is the never-ending game of money. Whether you know it or not, money is a game that we are all forced to play, where we have to make money, and it leaves almost the second we get it, which makes us feel broke regardless of our income. And it is an exhausting game to play because it is never ending, where we're always going to have to find ways to make money. However, the game can be a bit easier if you take steps to get your finances under control. You create a budget, build an emergency fund, and invest your money. When you take these steps, although you still have to play the never-ending game of money, you don't feel as broke because 1, you can cover life's surprise expenses, and 2, you can exit the game from time to time if needed. As I said in the beginning of this video, regardless of your income, you probably feel broke. And feeling broke is caused by how we perceive our financial status, how it compares to those around us, and how societal expectations shape our feelings. And I think that if we can recognize why we feel this way, develop a better mindset, and create a healthy relationship with money, we won't feel as broke. And with that, muchas gracias, que tengan un buen día, nos vemos chicos.